Every single day, I receive messages from people in this community asking about the $2,000 stimulus check or dividend payment that has been discussed for months. When is it coming? Who qualifies? How much will we actually receive? These are the questions everyone wants answered. Before I break down everything that has been said about this payment, I need to ask for your help with something important. This platform is dedicated to bringing you the latest updates on Social Security and benefit news. But I have noticed that many people watching are not yet subscribed. If you want to know the moment we get official details about this $2,000 payment, please take 2 seconds right now to hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell. This way, you will be the first to know when breaking news happens. Subscribing is completely free and it helps me continue bringing you these critical updates. Now, let me show you exactly what has been said. Since October and November of last year, the president has come out repeatedly in interviews, press conferences, and public statements to discuss this $2,000 payment. What makes this significant is not just that it was mentioned once, but that the idea has been reinforced across multiple appearances. I have compiled the key statements and analyzed what they tell us about the timing, eligibility, and amount of this potential payment. Let me walk you through everything we know based on these public remarks. First, let me address the most important question everyone is asking. Is this payment actually happening? Based on the consistency and frequency of the statements made over the past several months, it appears this is a serious initiative that is being pursued. When the same policy is mentioned repeatedly across different venues and interviews, it signals genuine intent rather than a passing idea. The reasoning provided is that this payment is being discussed because of the substantial revenue coming in from tariffs. According to these statements, the tariff income has been so significant that it creates the financial capacity to distribute payments to Americans while also addressing the national debt. In the president's own words, the administration has taken in what is described as trillions of dollars from tariffs. This revenue stream is what makes the payment possible, according to this explanation. Now, let me break down the specific details revealed about who would qualify for this payment. The eligibility criteria have been stated clearly and consistently across multiple appearances. The emphasis has been that this payment is intended for low-income, middle-income, and moderate-income Americans. It has been explicitly stated that this is not for wealthy individuals. In several statements, it was specifically said the payment would go to everyone but the rich. Setting income limits that make sense has been mentioned, indicating there will be a threshold above which individuals would not qualify. For those of you living on Social Security, SSDI, SSI, or other fixed incomes, this is encouraging news. By definition, most fixed income beneficiaries fall into the low to middle income categories that have been identified as eligible recipients. The key point to understand is that eligibility appears to be based on income level, not on the source of that income. It does not matter whether your income comes from working, retirement benefits, disability payments, or other sources. What matters is whether your total income falls below whatever threshold is eventually established. Now, let me address the payment amount, because this is where things get interesting. In most statements, $2,000 has been referenced as the payment amount. However, in some appearances, the phrase at least $2,000 was used. This phrasing suggests the final amount could potentially be higher than $2,000, though $2,000 appears to be the baseline expectation. There has also been mention of $1,000 to $2,000 in at least one instance, suggesting there may be different payment tiers based on income levels or other factors. The final structure will only be clear once an official proposal is released. For planning purposes, expecting somewhere in the range of $1,000 to $2,000 seems reasonable based on everything that has been stated publicly. The exact amount may depend on individual circumstances once the full eligibility criteria are announced. Regarding timing, this is perhaps the area where people have the most questions and the most anxiety. The indications have consistently pointed to payments arriving sometime during 2026. In various statements, the middle of the year and a little bit later than that have been mentioned as potential timeframes. When asked directly about timing, responses have included sometime during the year and probably in the middle of next year. This suggests we should be looking at the second or third quarter of 2026 as the realistic window for when payments might be distributed. There is also an important connection to the reconciliation bill that Congress is currently working on. Lawmakers have been drafting a major reconciliation package that is expected to pass in late spring or early summer of 2026. This legislative vehicle could potentially include the $2,000 payment provision. The reconciliation process is significant because it allows certain legislation to pass with a simple majority in the Senate rather than requiring 60 votes. This makes passage more achievable for priorities the administration wants to advance. If the payment is included in the reconciliation bill and that bill passes on the expected timeline, payments could begin flowing to Americans by the middle of 2026, which aligns with what has been stated. One particularly interesting aspect of these statements involves whether congressional approval is even necessary. In multiple appearances, it has been suggested that payments might be distributed without going through Congress. It has been stated that going the Congress route may not be necessary and that this could potentially be done without Congress. This raises the possibility of payments being distributed through executive action rather than legislation. Whether this is legally feasible depends on various factors, but it is clearly an option being explored. If executive action is used rather than waiting for congressional legislation, the timeline for payments could potentially be faster since it would not depend on the legislative calendar. However, most observers believe the more likely path is through the reconciliation bill, which provides clear legal authority for the payments and ensures proper funding allocation. Now, let me explain what is meant by calling this a dividend rather than a stimulus check. The framing as a dividend is intentional. The explanation provided is that because the tariff revenue comes from other countries paying into the United States, distributing that money to Americans is like paying shareholders a dividend from corporate profits. In this framing, American citizens are like shareholders in the country, and the tariff revenue represents profits that can be distributed back to them. Whether you call it a dividend, a stimulus check, a rebate, or something else, the practical effect is the same. It means direct payments going into the bank accounts or mailboxes of qualifying Americans. The emphasis has also been on these payments representing real money that comes from other countries, distinguishing it from deficit spending or money creation. This framing may be designed to make the payments more politically palatable by connecting them to tariff policy. For Social Security recipients and others on fixed incomes, understanding the implications of this potential payment is important for financial planning. If payments do arrive in the middle of 2026, as indicated, this could provide meaningful financial relief during a period when many beneficiaries continue struggling with elevated prices for groceries, housing, healthcare, and other essentials. A $2,000 payment, while not life-changing, could cover several months of utility bills, help with unexpected medical expenses, allow for necessary home or vehicle repairs, or simply provide breathing room in tight monthly budgets. For couples where both individuals qualify, the combined payment could be even more significant. While the exact structure for couples has not been specified, past stimulus payments have typically provided amounts for each qualifying individual. The key action item right now is to stay informed as more details emerge. No official proposal with specific eligibility criteria, exact payment amounts, or distribution timelines has been released yet. What we have are public statements indicating intentions. When the official proposal does come out, you will want to verify that your information is current with relevant agencies. If payments are distributed through the IRS like past stimulus payments, having accurate direct deposit information on file will ensure you receive funds as quickly as possible. If payments are distributed through Social Security for beneficiaries, your existing direct deposit setup should work automatically. Either way, staying informed about the details will help you prepare. Let me summarize what we know based on the multiple statements made over recent months. The payment amount is expected to be $2,000, with some statements suggesting it could be at least $2,000 or potentially higher. Eligibility is based on income, with low income, middle income, and moderate income Americans qualifying, while wealthy individuals are excluded. The timing is projected for somewhere around the middle of 2026, possibly connected to the reconciliation bill expected to pass in late spring or early summer. The funding comes from tariff revenue, which is said to have brought in substantial amounts that make these payments possible while also addressing national debt. Congressional approval may or may not be required, with the possibility of action through executive authority. The consistency of these statements across months of public appearances suggests this is a genuine priority that is being pursued rather than just political rhetoric. What remains unknown are the specific income thresholds that will determine eligibility, the exact distribution mechanism that will be used, the precise timeline for when payments would arrive, and whether there will be different payment amounts for different income levels. These details will only become clear when an official proposal is released. Until then, we are working with the framework that has been outlined in public statements. For those waiting anxiously for this payment, the most important thing is to remain patient while staying informed. The statements we have analyzed indicate payments are intended for 2026, likely in the middle portion of the year or somewhat later. Rushing to make financial decisions based on money that has not yet arrived is never advisable. Plan your finances based on income you currently have and treat any future payment as a bonus rather than something to depend on until it officially arrives in your account. I will continue monitoring all developments related to this $2,000 payment. The moment official details are announced, whether through legislation, executive action, or formal administration proposal, I will provide complete analysis of what it means for you. If you want to be the first to know when that happens, make sure you are subscribed with notifications turned on. This is exactly the kind of breaking news where timing matters and you do not want to learn about eligibility requirements or application deadlines after the fact. Share this information with others who are waiting for updates about this payment. Many people have heard about the $2,000 but have not seen the full picture of what has actually been stated. This compilation provides the most comprehensive understanding available right now. Stay informed, stay patient, and stay prepared. When official details emerge, you will know exactly what to expect and what actions to take.